All right, yes, so welcome back to the Balanced Diet Entertainment this early morning. Now, if you check your agogo, you go see the next bus stop will they enter. Now, waiting that already introduced before we back small break, and that one, now two casual guests who will get inside the building this morning. Now, you're going to wonder what they talk about, but before we introduce the guests, I'm going to need to let you know small of waiting we did look at this morning. Now, for inside the papers, we don't read them once upon a time, over and over again, the population of people waiting for inside prison. Now, even according to statistics, they say 72% of the people where they're inside prison have not been sentenced. That means say their matter, they never judge and finish. Their matter, it be like say still inside court. In fact, some people, their matter never even reach entrance of court. And that's now why we get these two people where they do work with people where they out there not even to know about. And some people, they say, wow, these are very laudable things where we get. Now, inside the building, to my far left, we get Ahmed Adetola Kazim. Him, a lawyer, arbitrator, and founder of the Prison Rights Advocacy Initiative. This one, an NGO, where they try help on top procedural changes to reduce the period of detention, pending trial, and better the welfare of inmates for inside Nigerian prison. Now, I mean, say the process where they're supposed to use until they reach the proper judgment, maybe the final bus stop, may then try shorten them, and even to look at the welfare of these our prisoners, where they for prisoners, well, these inmates waiting for inside prison. In that person, we don't chopulate so many awards. Make I just list one or two of the awards. In be one of the people where they on top of the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Youth for Young African Leaders 2017. He was also a finalist on top of the British Council Future Leaders Connect of 2017. He also win Best UCOM member by the time we go for NYC for 2010, amongst so many other awards.
Good to have you in the house. Now, still speaking on top detention of and also the populated prison where we get for inside Webodo, Nigeria, we still get another person, she's a pro bono lawyer, and she they focus on the rights of women and even children. According by her, our main focus now to prevent kids from even ending up in the prison. Join me, welcome, Bam Janet.
Wow, welcome Janet and welcome Kazim.
Thank you.
All right, now may I start with Kazim first. Kazim, with the statistics all they hear, so 73% of the people who are inside prison are not sentenced. How did we get there?
Well, it's a whole lot of issues around. She's not pidgin, I've been in English.
Anyway, it's always that's good.
Yes, so it's a whole lot of issues. One, we have the police. Two, we have the Ministries of Justice, that is the DPP. And three, we have the judiciary. All have roles to play in awaiting trial persons and the problems around awaiting trial persons. The police most times arrest without just cause. And when they arrest people, they claim that they have committed very grievous offenses known as capital offenses, which most times are not bailable, except with very, very cogent reasons. So those people find themselves in prison. Then the police is meant to send their duplicate case file to the DPP's office. But most times they refuse. And even when they do, the DPP do not write advice. So they are kept in prison. They go to the magistrate court, one day in court, but live in jail. So after that first time in court, remanding them, they stay there forever. And usually is also very slow. Even when advice is written, before they are charged properly, it takes years. Even when they are charged, the prosecution will not bring their witness, it takes years. So you find a case, somebody spending 12, 13, 14 years in prison awaiting trial. So those are the issues, and those are the causes of awaiting trial persons.
Now let me talk to Bam Janet. Now tell us what they do to prevent, because we know say in most of our prisons we have a lot of juveniles in there, to prevent them from entering into the prison.
Okay, so the work I do currently, I do a lot of mentorship. So because I believe that with proper guidance and when people are properly mentored and they know the alternatives to crime, it will prevent them from going into ventures that will have them go to prison. I was fortunate to really enjoy great mentorship while starting my career and while growing up. I grew up with my both parents late, so I had so many people I was looking up to. So there were two things that were involved. I either joined a bad gang or have people I looked up to. And I was fortunate enough to have people who were good enough to mentor me and take me through life and show me what to do and help me, prevent me from making mistakes that would take me into crime and other social vices. So that is what I intend to do. In my work at the prisons, I see a lot of people. You see 14-year-olds, 16, 17, 18. These are people who are supposed to be in school. These are people who are supposed to be protected. You find them in the prison. So where are we getting it wrong? That is why I do the mentorship program, to have them, prevent them from finding themselves in prison. But how do you prevent this? You have to give them an alternative to what they are used to. So the alternative is then having them show that it doesn't matter the circumstances you think you found yourself in. You can make something out of yourself. It's just a personal decision. You have to take it. And there are people who are ready to help you make sure that you make something good out of your life.
Wow, very true. Now, I would like to ask Kazim, because when they look at the statistics and the population of people within inside prison, the welfare is very important. Now, if you give us any first-hand experience of waiting any of the prisons where you don't go to, what is the state of the inmates in any of these prisons? Because a lot of people don't understand the state of prison in Nigeria. You're supposed to go to prison and come out better, but it looks like you come out harder and hardened. What's the state?
The state, well, about the issue of coming out hardened, that is a constant fact.
See?
And the reason for that is because prisoners most times are not empowered in prison. For instance, I'm doing a project now, which I call Empower an Inmate Program. We have 3 programs: Represent an Inmate, Empower an Inmate, and Educate an Inmate Program, where we get volunteers to teach for free, to teach vocational skills for free, and we also get lawyers to represent people for free. We can only do little, but if we widen the network, we can do more. So we are doing that. So I went around all the workshops in Lagos prisons. What you find out is that the workshops are not updated, 1. And 2, you have very few equipment, so they can't scale. You also find out that they don't have enough material. So if a prisoner wants to learn, somebody who is willing to learn, most times they can't take them. For instance, I spoke with the person in charge of, the inmate in charge of the shoemaking workshop at the maximum prison. And he told me that they don't get new people. If you want to come, you have to bring your material. Where do they expect an inmate to get the materials from? So what I'm doing now is that we're trying to raise funds to ensure that we can get materials and we can monitor the progress in this workshop so that you can get more people. For instance, the maximum prison has about 1,400 people, a little above 1,400 inmates in prisons. And those,
prison?
Yes, in prison. And those who are gainfully engaged in that prison, in the workshops, are not up to 100. The medium prison is worse. It has more than 3,500 people in that prison.
What will be the capacity? We need to understand the capacity of the prison. What should it take ideally?
Normally, the capacity,
and waiting it take,
the capacity of the maximum prison should be just a little above 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. Just around 1,000, and it takes 1,400. No. That is still fair. The maximum prison, just a little above 1,000, but presently has 3,500 people.
But does it not differ according to states? Depending on your structure.
On the building structure?
I don't understand.
As in terms of the number of people where the prison fair accommodate, does it not, like, different states not get their numbers?
Different states has their numbers. Different prisons, in fact, different prisons have, in Lagos State we have 5 prisons. Okay. So different prisons, they have different capacity. Okay. For instance, the female prison now, the capacity is just about 200 thereabout, and there are just over 300 people in the female prison. Okay. So the issue of welfare differs also. Some prison, because of the population, you find out that many of the inmates develop diseases. Many of it, you understand. So, but some prisons are still fair. Prisons like maximum prison, because there are not too many people, and the female prison is more or less like a home away from home, because you find out so it's not about all bad stories, but they are very bad stories. But that prison is worse. It's very tiny, but that prison has no workshop as I speak. No functioning workshop in Badagry prison. So if inmates go there, they are not empowered and they are not reformed. So there was a guy I represented, and when he came out of prison, so a journalist wanted to do a story about after prison life. So I called the parent. I had the number of the mom. So when I called the mom told me that his son is back in prison. And this guy was detained when he was around 16, 17 years. Well,
what did he do when they detained him?
Well, it has something to do with murder, but it was not involved. It was just an accomplice. So it wasn't even an accomplice. Okay. But so a report was the advice written by the DPP exonerated him. But he was in prison for like 7, 8 years. What was he doing during that time? What was he doing? What was he being engaged in? There was another one I represented, and when he came out, he told me he was going to Ibadan. So he went towards Bariga. So I called him and said, where are you going? He said he had already been linked in prison with an armed robbery kingpin. So he's going to resume duty. The guy has promised him 25,000. So the problem is that when they are not engaged, when they are not gainfully engaged in prison, they go into crimes. And that is what we are trying to forestall through these programs.
I totally like this. You will actually start the programs for us very soon. But I did very concerned. Now, people are illegally detained. Now, let's talk about some people where you have no choice but to be confined in the prison. We're talking about children now. Do they have, is there like an alternative for parents, especially women, where get belle, where give birth inside prison? Do they take the children somewhere? What is the state of the children?
Oh, the women who give birth in prisons, you have the female prison in Lagos, really. I have to commend the DCP there. The woman is doing an amazing job. They have facilities there for both mothers who are expecting and then new mothers. So you can't take your child out. You have to grow with the child. I've been to prison and seen children.
Till how many years?
Till, I think, about 5.
So the child will be in prison too?
3, 4,
Yes,
3,
with the mother also. Yes.
Yes.
You'll be in the prison with the mother.
They have something like a daycare. They have something like
for the process of the, what do they call it, whining or winning or something.
Winning,
Yeah,
yes.
winning,
Okay.
yes.
Picking from the mama.
Exactly,
from the
and then you get a family member or someone who takes, and if you don't have a family member, definitely they'll make alternative arrangements for the child to be taken out of the prison.
Okay, now
into a
I would
home.
like to ask, because just recently, I noticed that something with the trend in the last 1 week, we don't get this NGO bill where they bring to question the work where people like Una, where be NGOs, the kind of things Una they do. What do you see, our lady, might start with you first. What do you think about this NGO bill? Because people
Does it
are
restrict you?
really, really upset.
Okay, I think I'm the last person you need to ask about that bill because I'm one of those persons who is not so, there are so many aspects of the bill who I think are not so good, but there are so many aspects that I think are very good. Because to be frank, we know the situation. A lot of people get monies from donor organizations, especially international organizations. And since there's really no one to follow up, most times this money just goes. You see people who get money for a project and use 60% for contingency and other expenses and use 40% to implement the project.
Very true.
So really, when you see these kind of situations, you know that checks need to be put on some of these resources that are coming. You shouldn't see an NGO, we were just even discussing it this morning, funny enough. You shouldn't see grants coming in as a means for you to make a living. It's just for you to help you scale your projects. While I was on the Mandela Washington Fellowship, one of the things I really learned was that you continue doing your work, you get a sustainable structure to do your work, and then when the grants come in, they help you scale your work. This is not a means to making money. That's the truth. So, but most people just...
And some NGOs actually use them as a means of getting rich.
money. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. what do you think?
I also believe in regulation, but I don't believe in over-regulation, and I don't believe in duplication of laws.
Okay.
To me, the NGO bill makes no sense to me. It's not because I don't believe that people should be regulated. If CAMA, for instance, that is corporate, what do they call themselves?
Companies and Allied Matters Act.
If the provisions therein are followed stricto sensu, are followed to the latter, these problems will not arise. If people are made to file an audit, if they are going to be, if they want to review the law, they can review the law to ensure that NGOs are properly monitored, so that it's just not used as a means of, just making money and denying those who are genuine. You get, because if the NBA bill scales through, those who suffer are small NGOs like us. They are going to suffer because you have to report every 2 years. You have to reapply every 2 years. Then you have to, for every project you want to do, a project that is not even worth 100,000, you have to go and show them what you want. I think it makes no sense. That is over-regulation to me. So you should not over-regulate.
So what does regulation come in for you? Where
regulation is that you file your annual returns and it is monitored. You file your reports. You understand? There should be a means of monitoring what goes in, what comes out, and just like you do for any company. You understand? So I don't think it should be over, particularly because of some of us who are doing very massive jobs. For instance, I've never gotten any funding, any grant, any funding. For you to now tell me that I have to report everything I do, that means you are trying to discourage us from doing what we do.
Wow.
Now tell us some of the things. I'm very interested in what they do in the prisons in Nigeria. Tell us some of the things they do.
Okay. Well, I started with representing inmates. So just like a lawyer, I did that during my NYSC day, and that was one of what gave me the awards, plus other things that I did. So when I left NYSC, I felt I was feeling guilty I got the awards. Probably I did those things I did because of the awards. So now I'm in the world. What can I do? So I went to maximum prison. I took up 3 cases. I represented them. I filed fundamental rights application, and they were released. They have spent 10, 11, and 13 years in prison without trial.
Wow.
They were released, and the court awarded some compensation damages against the Lagos State government. So
they were compensated?
Yeah, well, the court awarded. We got 1, but we couldn't get the remaining 2. The court awarded, but we were able to get for 1 of them. And so later, I felt I could do more. So I took up like a class action. I took up cases for people who had spent between 4 and 12 years in prison. I filed a case for, initially there were 131 of them. Some of them left, some of them are represented in other cases. So I took up, finally, the case of 106 of them. So 90 of them were released, others were made to face their trial. And during that period also, we also wrote the Lagos State government, we wrote the then CJ. Then she released about 200 during that period, because we said, though my focus is on maximum prison, but I should take consideration of other prisons
as well.
You understand? So, but later, I did a lot of other cases after then, releasing more than 100 people from prison. So, but I felt that what we're doing, just like some of these instances, some of these cases I put forth earlier about them returning to prison, I felt that we should do more. So there was a need for us to start focusing on rehabilitation of prisoners. So I felt, in collaboration with some other people, we started workshops in prisons where we train them different skills and the likes. But now we are trying to make it bigger.
So how can people assist you, just quickly because of time?
Definitely, we have a website, pride.org.ng.
Pride.
Like Pride, PRAI.org.ng. If you go on the website, you see some of what we are doing.
Fantastic.
And also see the donate button where you can click and donate.
Very beautiful. Janet, please, do you have a website for people to reach you?
Or Instagram?
Oh,
social
yes.
media?
My website is www.fortitudeattorneys.com.
Fortitudeattorneys.com.
And then Facebook, Gbam Janet, Instagram, Gbam Janet, Twitter, Gbam Janet, LinkedIn, Gbam Janet.
Do you have an Instagram handle?
Yes, I do, but I can't remember the name. Just Google my name, Ahmed Adetola Kazim, you find everything. You see my LinkedIn, Ahmed Adetola Kazim, you find everything. So.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, and thank you so much, Gbam Janet.
All right, this is now the time we'll get on top the balance diet of entertainment. We'll go there again tomorrow to give you every. I remain Lichi in Obong.
And I remain Uvi Ehigiamusoy.
Very, very good. I mean, when I look at the state of...
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.